Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. Isn't it just fabulous this weather? Well, I'm sure it is for other people, but me, no, as you can see, the blinds are down, curtains are closed. I mean, I can feel the heat coming through the blind there, it's ridiculous. So I hope you're all keeping cool, I hope you're all keeping healthy. Tonight's video is about the perfect storm. I mean, just looking at the news today, oh my goodness. So what I thought we'd do is we'll go through the woe is me stuff and then we will see what we've got together, how we can get through it, etc, etc. So today there have been reports about now who is it? Cornwall Insight. Now we've had reports before from them when the energy price cap was going up. This is them putting out their predictions again. And their prediction is that your average bill, or the average payment of energy costs is, I'll just do it in numbers rather than pence. So it's 1971 today, 1971. They estimate that in October it will be 3582. And they also estimate in January it will be 4266. So that's more than double what we're paying today. That's what they estimate it to go up to in January. And certain media outlets have been giving voice to the energy companies and Ofgem and the government all going, oh, well, it's not that bad. That prediction is so far ahead of its time. They can't be sure. No, they can't be sure, but how much are we going to bet? I'm certainly not betting the farm on the fact that it's going to go down by anything remotely like the level that it's gone up. So, number one is energy. Number two is the water. Now, obviously, we've had the heat wave, we've had much warmer weather, much drier weather, so there's going to be problems with water levels. Now, what have I got here? Anglian, Thames and southern regions all saw their driest July on record since 1836, since records began back in 1836. This is the driest July that they've had. So water, I mean, Thames Water are threatening to put in a hosepipe ban, I think next week or sometime, but they're certainly saying that they're looking at putting in a hosepipe ban. Do not even start me on the water main that burst in Islington and flooded the place. Where's their maintenance? Multi-billion dollars of bonuses for people who are pouncing about in private planes and posh suits, and our water's literally pissing all over the road. I mean, really, what is that about? So, anyway, water shortages. And the water shortages then leads me into the third one, which is food shortages. Because it seems that in October, that's when you start sowing seeds for next year. And at the moment, the ground's too dry. And the forecast is not for that much rain in certain places. Some places are not going to be too bad. They're expecting it to get back to average rainfall. But some places, especially down south, they're thinking it's not really looking like we're going to get much rainfall. So if they don't, they're not going to be able to plant the seeds. Yeah, plant the seeds, sow the seed, do the drilling, whatever it is they do, because there's different ways of planting seeds seemingly. They're not going to be able to do that. So the crops are not going to come in the same way they did this year, because they managed to plant them this time last year, in October last year. They're not going to be able to plant them unless there's rainfall. So it's an absolute trifecta of, oh dear God, and that doesn't even take into account all your other stuff that we've talked about over this. This is just these three things, that the energy prices are going to get ridiculous, water is going to become a problem, which therefore means food is going to become a problem. And when I first read all this, I was like, is there anything more you want to throw at me? Come on, bring it on. I am right in the mood for you now. Because obviously Boris Johnson's doing nothing. Liz Truss is saying, oh, I'll do tax cut. What good is tax cuts to someone sitting in a freezing cold house with ice on the inside, 3 crying kids with no heat and no food? Really? What's your tax cut going to do for them, Miss Truss? And don't even start me on Sunak either, because I mean, it's totally pointless. They have no clue what they're talking about. They have no clue about people's lives. So, as I've said before, honest to God, I sound like a broken record. They're not going to do it for us, so we need to do it for ourselves. So we need to make sure, see if you're down south just now, if you do not have a dehydrator, get some stuff out in the sun, dry yourself some fruit. Do you know, put it on your windowsill. Protect it by net stuffs or things from beasties, because there's many, many beasties going about just now. See if you can dry some stuff out, even if you dry some sliced onions, so that you can throw them in a stew or a soup later in the winter without having to go and buy it. Anything you can do to stack up your food, get it done, because this is no longer just the winter we've got to get through. This is next year as well. They're already saying if there is not enough rainfall, the farmers will not be able to plant what they planted last year, because they're not going to be able to sow the seeds in the ground because the ground will be too dry. So we already know, unless we get a shed load of rain, the UK is going to be short of food. Spain has already said the olive harvest, olive oil's going as well. It's been too dry for the olives. This is not going to be the only one. There's going to be a lot of countries around the world with this weather where they're not going to be able to carry on next year the way they did this year. Farmers and beef farmers in the States, as far as I've read, but granted it was only the headline I read, they're selling off their cattle hand over fist. They can't afford to feed them and water them. So the beef industry in America is going to shrink by loads. And so we have to all think of this. So whatever you can get in now, get it in now, because as far as I'm concerned, your world of shopping this time next year is going to be very different from what it is this year. If I'm wrong, I will happily, do you know, if we go back to this next year and you go, Karen, look at this video, you said you would hold your hand up. I will happily hold my hand up if I'm wrong. I hope to God I am wrong. Unfortunately, I don't think I am. So, as I say, get your food in. Get some water in. Get some water containers. I have a water container, look. See? Of Argos. So, I don't even remember the price of it, but what it does is the thing, and then you set it up like that, and you've got a tap. So I don't need to carry it. I can just flip it on its side and then use the tap. I got it out of Argos. It was delivered to Sainsbury and Patrick picked it up for me. Thank you very much, Patrick. He's just picked up the wind-up lamps for today, so I should get them later on this week. Get yourself some water, because it's not going to be as plentiful as it was. Do you know, as I say, Angling, Thames and southern regions, that's not a small area. It's been the driest July on record since 1836. Make sure you don't run out of water, because that is, you know, that's that silly rule of three. What is it? 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and 3 somethings without, I don't know. Somebody can tell me that, please. So yeah, food, water, energy. I have no answer to this. I really, really don't. If you're down south, you'll be fine with the blankies and stuff. If you're up here, do you know, I know it gets to -16 in bad winters. I have no answer for that. Put stuff over your windows. Cover your walls, your outside walls. Get your blankies, get everything you can. Get your solar chargey thing, because it could be even a hand warmer that runs off a USB if you've got a power bank will be useful. Anything will be useful. But start thinking about it now. I don't know what the winter's supposed to be like, but I did read somewhere that the snowboardy people are looking at an El Niño, which seemingly means it's going to be really good snow weather, which means it's going to be very cold. So if it is cold, it's going to be a whole different ballgame from what we're expecting. So please try and prep now, because from what I've seen, as honestly so many of you have commented, and I've tried so hard not to get all like uppity about it, but yeah, the government's not doing anything. You know, they're out in their private jets, they've got their luxury condos or villas or whatever. Do you know, I mean, what's his face was putting in expenses to heat his stables, for God's sake. They live in a completely different world. I think I was on the Guardian, Reuters. I went on Reuters today and looked up retail and consumer business page, and Michael Kors and somebody else, 2 luxury brands are still making profits. So it's not hitting the people with a lot of money, it's just hitting us. And, do you know, our time will come. Do you know, Viva la Revolution and all that sort of rubbish. I'm not big on that, but something will turn. The worm will turn, I'll tell you that. And until then, I am not going to be beaten. I am just not. So I am going to prep my food, I am going to prep my water, I am going to crochet my blankies, I'm going to make sure that I've got bubble wrap and tin foil to go in my windows. I am going to make sure I get one of those solar fold out chargey things that someone put in the comments. Thank you so much for that, by the way. I'm going to get those things because I think we're all going to need them. So there you go. Bit of a rant. What can I say? Perfect trifecta of, for those of us who are not multi-billionaires, it's going to be a hell of a winter and it's probably going to be a hell of a year next year. But we're not beaten yet, and I have got no intention of starting being beaten now. So, as my mammy would say, get up off your knees and come out fighting. And that's what I intend doing. So, I'm away to go and do stuff, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.